What if the most shocking secret from one of the most controversial films in history was never meant to be revealed? The world has seen the Passion of the Christ countless times, its haunting scenes etched deep into the memories of millions. But what happened behind the camera during filming? What if something happened on that set so strange, so baffling, that to this day, no one can explain it? Elon Musk leaned back in his chair, eyes fixed on a single email that appeared out of nowhere in his inbox. The subject line read, "A mystery no one can explain, the Passion of the Christ." No sender. No explanation. Just a cryptic message hinting at secrets buried deep beneath the surface of a film that had stirred global conversations, and controversies, for nearly 2 decades. Elon wasn't just any billionaire entrepreneur. His mind raced beyond rockets and electric cars. He had a curiosity about the unknown, a hunger for uncovering truths no one dared to touch. And this email felt like a call to action. What exactly had gone wrong during filming? Why did several cast and crew members abruptly disappear from public view? And why did Mel Gibson, the film's director, refuse to discuss certain scenes, even decades later? Elon asked himself, what if something happened on that set that defied explanation? Something that challenged the very limits of science, reason, and faith? This was more than a story. It was a mystery wrapped in silence, cloaked in secrecy. He hit reply instinctively, except the message vanished. Gone, as if it was never there. A chill ran down his spine. Is this some kind of prank? Elon muttered, but deep down, he knew better. There was something here. Something big. And so began a journey unlike any other, a journey into a world where the line between reality and the unexplainable blurred. If you're watching this, I want you to do one thing: hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. Because this story might just spark a new beginning, for me, for you, for everyone willing to listen. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? For Elon, it was the search for truth. And truth, as he was about to learn, was never simple. The filming of The Passion of the Christ in 2003 was already legendary for its intensity. Mel Gibson had poured heart and soul into depicting the final hours of Jesus Christ with brutal honesty and graphic detail. The cast endured extreme physical demands, harsh weather, and emotional breakdowns. But none of that prepared anyone for what happened next. Crew members spoke quietly of strange noises coming from empty sets, lights flickering without cause, and shadows moving where no one should have been. Some described feeling watched. Others said they saw figures, almost like ghosts, lingering in the background during filming. None of it made sense. One camera operator, who asked to remain anonymous, recalled, "There was this one night when the equipment just died. No power, no reason. But the most chilling part? When we tried to restart the cameras, the tapes already recorded on them played back scenes we had never filmed." That account spread like wildfire among the crew, fueling rumors of a haunting. Yet, Mel Gibson publicly dismissed all such claims, calling them set folklore. Still, behind closed doors, the director was often seen staring at the monitors with a look of deep concern, an expression unfamiliar to those who knew him. Why would Elon Musk, a man best known for his ventures into space travel and artificial intelligence, be interested in a mystery surrounding a religious film? Because, for Elon, mysteries were puzzles to be solved. And nothing fascinated him more than a challenge that pushed the limits of what we thought was possible. His work with SpaceX and Tesla had shown him that the world held many secrets, some scientific, some beyond explanation. When that anonymous email landed in his inbox, something told him it wasn't coincidence. He had to know. In the days following the mysterious email, Elon began piecing together fragments from obscure sources, interviews with former cast and crew, behind-the-scenes footage, and rumors circulating online. Each piece added to the growing puzzle, hinting at a night during filming that no one wanted to talk about. A night when something happened. Something that shattered normalcy. Something unexplainable. As this story unfolds, you'll hear voices, see events, and meet people who experienced firsthand what happened during that tumultuous filming. You'll encounter moments of fear, hope, confusion, and revelation. But ultimately, you'll have to decide what to believe. Because sometimes, the truth is stranger than fiction. So, before we dive deeper into the shadows of the Passion of the Christ, I want to hear from you. What's one mystery you've always wanted to solve? Hit subscribe, leave a comment, and get ready for a journey you won't forget. Because this is not just a story about a film. It's about the unexplained, the unspoken, and the undeniable. And it's only just beginning. Elon Musk's name is almost synonymous with innovation. The man who brought us Tesla's sleek electric cars, SpaceX's reusable rockets, and even ventures into brain-computer interfaces and underground transportation, he's the ultimate futurist. But behind the headlines and the groundbreaking technology lies something less talked about, Elon's relentless curiosity for mysteries that defy explanation. Most people know Elon as a visionary entrepreneur, but few understand the deep-rooted motivation that drives him. It's not just about profits or technological advancements, it's about pushing the boundaries of what humanity can comprehend. Born in South Africa, Elon was a child who didn't just accept the world as it was. He spent hours reading science fiction, dreaming about space travel, and questioning everything around him. When he was just 10 years old, he taught himself computer programming and sold his first video game at the age of 12. But it wasn't just technical skills that defined young Elon, it was his hunger to understand the unknown. Mysteries fascinated him, from the nature of the universe to unexplained phenomena reported in newspapers. His parents, both intellectually gifted, encouraged this curiosity, though sometimes his relentless questions and obsession with the unknown led to conflict. His father, a strict man with high expectations, wanted Elon to focus on practical pursuits, while Elon pushed for exploration beyond conventional limits. This tension created a complex emotional foundation, one that would fuel Elon's drive for decades to come. After moving to the United States, Elon's career skyrocketed. He co-founded Zip2, then PayPal, and eventually founded SpaceX and Tesla. Each project was ambitious, driven not just by a desire for financial success, but by the idea of shaping the future. SpaceX's mission, to make life multiplanetary, reflects Elon's vision of humanity's place in the cosmos. Tesla's push for sustainable energy is a bid to save our planet. Neuralink, his brain chip startup, is a leap toward unlocking the potential of the human mind. But beneath these ventures, Elon has always been driven by questions others are afraid to ask. What if there's more to reality than what science currently accepts? What if some truths have been hidden deliberately? This leads us to why Elon received that strange email about the Passion of the Christ. His passion for uncovering mysteries isn't limited to physics or technology, it extends into history, religion, and the paranormal. Several times over the years, Elon has been known to delve into topics considered taboo or fringe, alien life, time travel, and unexplained events. He approaches these subjects not with skepticism, but with the same analytical mind he applies to rockets and electric cars. When the anonymous message landed in his inbox, Elon didn't brush it off. Instead, he felt compelled to investigate. For Elon, the story was more than just a curiosity, it felt personal. In 2021, Elon spoke publicly about his struggles with isolation and the pressure of being at the forefront of technological change. Despite his success, he has acknowledged moments of loneliness and doubt. Exploring a story like this, full of human emotion, faith, and mystery, offered him a connection to something deeper than data and deadlines. This mystery of the Passion of the Christ resonated with his own search for meaning beyond the material world. Elon isn't religious in a traditional sense. His worldview blends science, philosophy, and a healthy skepticism. But he recognizes the power of faith and storytelling in shaping human experience. He understood that the Passion of the Christ was not just a movie, it was a cultural phenomenon that challenged millions to confront questions about suffering, sacrifice, and redemption. And now, decades after its release, Elon was drawn into a story that tested the limits of belief, not just for the audience, but for those who made the film. Before diving headfirst into the mystery, Elon assembled a small, trusted team, experts in history, film production, paranormal research, and digital forensics. He knew this would require more than curiosity, it needed rigor. The team's mission, to uncover what really happened on that film set, to examine the evidence, and to find the truth behind the stories whispered behind closed doors. Elon began by reviewing all publicly available materials, the interviews, production notes, and behind-the-scenes footage. But quickly, he realized that wasn't enough. There were gaps. Missing pieces. Silences where there should have been answers. That's when Elon decided to go directly to the source, the people who had been there. It's easy to dismiss The Passion of the Christ as just another movie. But for Elon, it was a doorway to something bigger. A glimpse into how the unexplainable can shape history, culture, and even our understanding of reality. This wasn't just a personal journey. It was one that could change how we see the world. As Elon prepares to step deeper into this mystery, your engagement is key. Because every story needs witnesses. Every investigation needs voices. What would you do if you stumbled upon a secret no one dared to reveal? What would it take for you to pursue the truth, even when it challenges everything you believe? Stay with us as we continue this journey. In the next chapter, we'll look closer at Mel Gibson, the man behind the camera, and the extraordinary, and often troubled, story of making The Passion of the Christ. Remember to hit subscribe and share your thoughts below. Where are you watching from? And what's one question you'd want Elon to ask first? Long before The Passion of the Christ shocked the world, Mel Gibson was already a household name. From Braveheart to Lethal Weapon, he wasn't just a star, he was an icon. But behind the fame was a man wrestling with demons, faith, and the desperate need to tell a story no one else dared to tell. This wasn't just about making a movie. For Mel Gibson, The Passion of the Christ was redemption. And it almost destroyed him. In the early 2000s, Gibson had a lot to prove. His reputation was fraying. Controversial interviews, run-ins with the press, and whispers of personal struggles painted a picture of a man spiraling out of control. Hollywood was beginning to turn its back. Then came his announcement, a fully Aramaic and Latin-spoken film about the final 12 hours of Jesus Christ's life. No studio backing. No mainstream support. Just Mel. And a story he said came to him in a moment of divine clarity. The industry scoffed. Studios passed. Critics sharpened their knives before a single frame was shot. But Gibson didn't care. He poured $30 million of his own money into the production. He built his own sets. He cast relatively unknown actors. He went to the hills of Italy, far from Hollywood, to create something raw, unfiltered, and spiritual. And in doing so, he walked straight into something else entirely. The production of The Passion of the Christ was unlike any other. The atmosphere on set was intense, almost sacred. Gibson enforced a code of silence and prayer before major scenes. There were moments when cast and crew reported feeling overwhelmed, unsteady, or like they were being watched. But Mel insisted they press on. He was known to fast for days before shooting certain sequences. He reportedly rewrote lines at night after waking up with visions. According to one assistant, Mel once ordered an entire scene res-hot because he felt a presence had interrupted the energy on set. Some chalked it up to the stress of production. Others weren't so sure. Then came the casting of Jim Caviezel, the actor chosen to play Jesus. Tall, soft-spoken, deeply religious, Caviezel threw himself into the role with astonishing commitment. And it came at a cost. He was accidentally whipped, twice, during the scourging scene. He dislocated his shoulder carrying the cross. He suffered hypothermia during the crucifixion shots. And during one outdoor scene, he was literally struck by lightning. Yes, struck by lightning. On set. In costume. A crew member standing just feet away said the lightning bolt came out of nowhere under clear skies. Caviezel survived, but after that, he reportedly spoke less, stared more, and insisted on a priest being on set at all times. Even Gibson, ever the skeptic, grew uneasy. By week 6 of production, word spread among the crew that something was off. Footage reportedly went missing. Cameras stopped working. One night, security found a wild dog sitting silently on the crucifix set, staring at nothing, and wouldn't move for hours. A priest brought in to bless the set fainted mid-prayer. And then, there were the dreams. Multiple actors and technicians reported vivid nightmares about scenes they hadn't filmed yet, down to the exact camera angles and lighting setups. When these scenes were eventually shot, they unfolded exactly as the crew had seen them in their dreams. Coincidence? Or something else? After the film's release in 2004, Gibson gave a series of interviews, but carefully avoided discussing the stranger events on set. In one rare moment of candor, he said, "There were things that happened during filming that, well, let's just say I've never experienced anything like it. And I hope I never do again." He refused to elaborate. Over the years, cast and crew were asked about the rumors. Most dodged the question. A few denied them altogether. But one assistant director, who asked not to be named, once told a podcast, "Look, man. I don't know what happened. All I know is, we left that set different than we arrived. Some people never came back." All of this caught Elon Musk's attention. He wasn't just looking at what happened during filming, he was looking at why so many people were afraid to talk about it. Why was there a wall of silence around this production? Why were certain crew members untraceable? Why was some footage never released? And most importantly, what happened during that one night of filming when everything changed? A night the production schedule referred to cryptically as Scene 87, Gethsemane, revised. A scene that didn't exist in any final cut of the film. A scene that, according to internal documents, was shot, and then sealed. Elon knew he had to find it. If Mel Gibson made The Passion of the Christ to find redemption, what did he find instead? And what did he see, that made him never want to speak about it again? As we move into the next chapter, Elon begins his direct investigation, starting with those who were there. Get ready. Because the silence is about to be broken. What do you think happened on that set? Leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe, this story is only just beginning. The deeper Elon Musk dove into the background of the Passion of the Christ, the more he felt something gnawing at him, a sense that the most unbelievable parts of the story were the ones people were afraid to speak about. The pieces didn't fit into any logical framework. And that, for Elon, was the most compelling part of all. If something truly unexplainable happened, why was everyone so determined to stay quiet about it? It was time to go beyond headlines and documentaries. Elon needed to hear from the people who were actually there. And he didn't have to wait long. The first breakthrough came unexpectedly. After days of encrypted emails and dead-end leads, a man named Anthony Leclerc, a former lighting technician, agreed to speak. They met at a small cafe in New Mexico, far from Hollywood. Anthony arrived looking over his shoulder. He wasn't scared, Elon noticed, he was haunted. "It's been nearly 20 years, Anthony said, eyes lowered. And I still see it. Every time I close my eyes." Elon stayed quiet, letting him talk. "It started small, equipment malfunctioning, lights shorting out when we were filming anything related to Judas. Always those scenes. And not like, oh it's hot and the fuse blew. I mean total blackouts. Lights melting. Batteries dying in brand new rigs." Elon leaned forward. "Did it ever happen on other scenes?" Anthony shook his head. "Only those. And, the Gethsemane night. That name again, Gethsemane. The scene that didn't exist in any official cut. But Elon had seen the label in internal documents. "What happened that night?" he asked. Anthony didn't answer right away. Then, with a cracked voice, he said, "I saw something in the monitor that wasn't in front of the camera. A figure. Pale. Watching us. And when I looked up, it was gone." From there, the pattern grew. Elon tracked down Maya Sandoval, a sound engineer who had worked on post-production. She was now living off-grid in Oregon, no public records, no digital footprint. He found her through an old LinkedIn connection that hadn't been updated in 15 years. Maya didn't want to talk at first. But when Elon mentioned Scene 87, she paused. "You're not supposed to know that name," she said. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "We were told to erase everything related to it." "Eliminate the audio?" Elon asked. "No," Maya said. "Scrub it. As in, pretend it was never recorded." Still, she had kept a backup. One copy. One 10-second clip. She sent it anonymously through a VPN-secured drop. When Elon played it, chills ran down his spine. The clip was low, distorted. Wind. A rustling. Then what sounded like a groan, not human, not animal. Then silence. Then. "Why are you watching?" A whisper. No speaker identified. No timestamp. Just a voice that didn't belong. The more Elon dug, the more consistent the stories became. Cameras would roll with no one behind them. Crucifix scenes often showed interference in the footage, odd shadows, strange flares, on days with no lighting rigs present. The crucifixion cross itself was reportedly found fallen over more than once, despite being reinforced with concrete. The production manager called it wind damage. But Elon had seen the weather logs. Those nights were calm. Elon contacted Icon Productions, Mel Gibson's company, requesting access to unused footage, especially around the Gethsemane sequence. He received a polite reply. "All archival material has been secured and is not available for external review. Thank you for your inquiry." When he followed up, his second message bounced. The email domain had been shut down. 2 days later, one of his research assistants reported that the IMDb page for The Passion of the Christ had suddenly removed several crew names. When they checked the archived version from a year earlier, those names were present. Now they were gone. Almost like someone was cleaning up history. Late one night, Elon received a message from an unknown number. "Don't look for Scene 87. Some things aren't meant to be found. This isn't your mystery, Elon." No signature. No follow-up. But the timing was impossible to ignore. Whatever this was, someone didn't want it exposed. Most people would have taken the hint and backed off. But Elon wasn't most people. Instead, he doubled down. He set up a secure digital vault with every testimonial, every piece of audio, every interview, backed up to 3 separate off-grid servers. And every night, he returned to that 10-second clip. "Why are you watching?" He analyzed the frequency. Ran it through AI vocal identification tools. Tried to match it with any known voice from the film crew. Nothing matched. Whatever that whisper was, it wasn't from this world. And then came the warning that turned Elon's curiosity into full-blown paranoia. A former set medic from the film reached out with a single statement. "Whatever happened on that mountain, it followed us home." When Elon asked to meet, the medic refused. He was already gone. Found dead in his home 2 days later. Heart failure, they said. But the real question wasn't how he died. It was what he knew. Something strange happened on that set. Something multiple people saw. Something they tried to erase. But some things don't stay buried. And Elon Musk was now in too deep to walk away. What do you think happened during the filming of The Passion of the Christ? Have you ever felt like you were being watched by something you couldn't see? Drop your thoughts in the comments. and don't forget to subscribe. Because what Elon uncovers next will leave you speechless. The decision was made. Elon Musk was going to Italy. If he wanted to find the truth about Scene 87, about the whispers, the missing footage, the erased names, he had to go where it all began, Matera, the ancient city where much of the Passion of the Christ had been filmed. It wasn't just a filming location. It was a character in the story. Carved from limestone cliffs, Matera is one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in the world. Narrow alleyways twist like veins through stone, and silence sits heavy in the air. For centuries, it's been called the City of Caves, a place that holds secrets in its walls. And Elon was going there to wake them up. He flew into Bari under an alias. No fanfare. No media. Just a small backpack, a translator, and a private investigator named Riley Shaw, a former intelligence operative turned freelance analyst who'd worked with Elon on off-grid projects before. Matera looked like it hadn't changed in centuries. Even the air felt thicker, as if time itself was slower here. The city had been the backdrop for stories about the birth, death, and resurrection of Christ. Now, it might hold the key to something even more incomprehensible. And Elon could feel it the moment he stepped onto the stone. Something was off. Their contact in Italy was Father Luca Benedetti, a retired priest who had served as a spiritual advisor on the set during filming. He had been one of the few locals invited into the inner circle of production. But when Elon arrived at the small church where they were supposed to meet, he was told Father Luca was not available. He left town 2 days ago, said the nun who answered the door. He said he was going on retreat. Somewhere remote. Elon frowned. Did he leave a message? The nun hesitated, then handed him a folded slip of paper. Written in looping, uneven script were just 6 words. You will not like the truth. Matera was quiet, but not welcoming. Every person Elon spoke to seemed hesitant, tight-lipped. The moment he mentioned the film, the energy shifted. Smiles faded. Eyes narrowed. Conversations turned shallow. Even the cafe owners avoided questions. Finally, an elderly tour guide named Giovanni, who had helped escort the crew back in 2003, agreed to speak. I remember the night it happened, he said. The Gethsemane scene. They shot near the old cave chapel on the edge of town. And? Elon asked. Giovanni took a deep breath. It was only supposed to take 2 hours. But they were out there all night. And when they came back, they were different. Quiet. Pale. Like something drained the life from them. Did anything specific happen? Giovanni looked around, leaned closer. They found something in the rock. Behind the altar. Something buried. Elon's pulse quickened. What was it? I never saw it. But I heard one of the grips say he wouldn't touch it. Said it looked alive. Giovanni paused. After that night, people started leaving the production. No goodbyes. Just gone. Some never returned to Hollywood. And that cave, they sealed it the next day. Elon and Riley hiked up the ridge where the final Gethsemane scenes were supposedly filmed. The old chapel wasn't on any current map, it had been decommissioned after filming. But the town's satellite data still showed its foundations. When they arrived, the cave's entrance was covered with debris, boards, rocks, even iron bars. Someone had gone to great lengths to keep people out. Riley began clearing the rubble. You really think this is where it happened? She asked. I think this is where it started, Elon said quietly. They broke through an old wooden door, creaking as it gave way. Inside, the air was damp and still. Dust hung in the light like ancient breath. And then they saw it. An altar, carved directly into the cave wall. Blackened at the edges, like it had been burned. Behind it, a patch of rock looked different. Newer. Cemented over, as if something had been hidden. As Riley photographed the wall, Elon noticed something strange. A faint symbol, carved just above the altar, partly chiseled away, but still visible. A circle. Inside it, what looked like an eye. And below, 3 jagged lines pointing downward. Elon had seen the design before, in a photo sent anonymously the day before he left for Italy. No explanation, just the image. And now it was here. Etched into rock. That night, Elon returned to his hotel to find the power out. The only thing working was his tablet, which flickered to life on its own. A message appeared on the screen. No sender. Just 3 words. You are watched. Then it went black. What happened during the filming of The Passion of the Christ isn't just a story about a movie set anymore. It's about something buried. Something sealed inside a cave in Italy. Something the people of Matera still won't speak of. And now Elon Musk was digging it up. Matera was silent under the weight of the night. Inside the old cave chapel, the air didn't move. It was thick, like it had been trapped for decades, and didn't want to be disturbed. Riley stood at the sealed wall with a portable drill, her flashlight casting long shadows on the carved altar. You sure about this? She asked. Elon didn't answer right away. He was staring at the eye symbol etched into the stone, ancient, deliberate. This wasn't a set piece. It had been here long before Mel Gibson rolled his first camera. Yes, Elon finally said. Whatever they buried here, it wasn't meant to stay hidden forever. The drill whirred to life. As they bored through the cement seal, something strange happened, the flashlight dimmed. Not all at once, but like a slow breath being sucked out of the cave. Then the air turned cold. Riley froze. Do you feel that? Yeah, Elon said. It's getting colder the deeper we go. They removed the last chunk of stone and shone the light inside. Behind the wall was a hollowed chamber, about 6 feet deep, 3 feet wide. Inside lay something wrapped in aged linen, now blackened with time and moisture. Riley stepped forward. It looks like a... Don't say coffin, Elon interrupted. But that's exactly what it looked like. A crude sarcophagus, carved from local rock, sealed with rusted iron nails. And etched across the lid, again, the eye symbol. Only this time, it was accompanied by something else, words. Aramaic. Elon quickly snapped a photo and sent it to a translation bot. The result came back in seconds. He who watched the garden. Do not awaken. Despite the warnings, despite the pit in their stomachs, they lifted the lid. Inside was not a body. It was a mask. Stone. Carved. Smooth. Featureless, except for one detail, the eyes. 2 slits. And behind them, where the stone should have been solid, it was hollow. Elon reached in and pulled it out. It was heavier than it looked, cold to the touch. Something about it made him want to look away, even as his hands tightened around it. Riley stared. That's not a prop. No, Elon whispered. It's a relic. Beneath the mask was parchment. Rolled. Sealed with wax bearing a mark neither of them recognized, like a cross split at its base with flames rising from the bottom. It cracked open in Elon's hands. The writing was faint. Faded by age. But the translator picked up enough. It was a ritual. But not Christian. Not Roman. Older. Much older. Something about watching, guarding, and sacrifice. Back at the hotel, Elon laid out the parchment and mask side by side. He pulled up the leaked production memo that referenced scene 87. He hadn't noticed before, but at the bottom corner, barely visible, was a watermark. The same eye symbol. Somehow, scene 87 was connected to this relic. And Elon began to realize the truth. The production didn't just stumble onto something sacred. They may have filmed it. And then buried the evidence. The next morning, Elon received a private call. No caller ID. He answered. A pause. Then a voice, deep, gravelly, unmistakable. You found it, didn't you? Elon didn't say a word. Mel Gibson continued. I told them we shouldn't film there. I told them what I saw. What we all saw. They didn't listen. But you weren't supposed to know. Elon spoke carefully. What was scene 87, Mel? Mel paused. It was never a scene. Not really. Caviezel wasn't acting that night. He went somewhere. We all did. Something came through. Came through what? The camera. Silence. It doesn't matter now. Just put it back. And leave. Click. The line went dead. That night, Riley found an encrypted file sent from an anonymous server. File name, scn_87_full.mov. No metadata. No timestamp. Just one clip. They played it. The video opened on a familiar scene, Jesus kneeling in the Garden of Gethsemane, sweating blood. Jim Caviezel was in costume. But something was wrong with the frame rate. The shadows around him twisted unnaturally. Then the audio dropped out. The screen flickered. In the corner of the frame, something moved. Just past the trees. A figure. Tall. Too tall. Pale skin. No face. Just those empty black slits where eyes should have been. Exactly like the mask. Then the figure turned. And looked directly into the camera. Not past it. Into it. The screen went black. And then, static. Then a voice. You watched. Riley slammed her laptop shut. They both sat in silence. This wasn't folklore. This wasn't religious metaphor. Something real had been caught on film. Why was the film edited to exclude scene 87? What exactly did Mel Gibson's crew unleash? And most terrifying of all. Where is Jim Caviezel now? Leave a comment below. Do you think Elon should return the relic? Or should he keep digging? Whatever your answer, subscribe. Because this story has crossed into the unexplainable. And we're only halfway in. Jim Caviezel vanished 3 years after the release of The Passion of the Christ. Not legally, he still appeared in small-budget films and Christian documentaries. But the version of Jim who had once stood shoulder to shoulder with Hollywood's elite? Gone. No red carpets. No interviews. No press tours. Those who worked with him said he changed. Some said he was quieter, unreachable, distant. But one producer put it best. It was like something broke in him. And now, Elon Musk needed to find him. Because if anyone had answers about scene 87, it was Jim. Official records showed Caviezel living somewhere in rural Washington. But after 3 separate drones returned without visuals, Elon sent Riley to scout the location in person. What she found was eerie. The address led to a cabin buried deep in a forest clearing, surrounded by rusted fencing and outdated surveillance cameras. No neighbors within miles. No Wi-Fi. No cell reception. When she knocked, there was no answer. But someone was inside. She saw movement behind a curtain. A shadow. Watching. That night, Elon received a voice message on a scrambled frequency. The file was labeled Jim_final_1.wave. The audio quality was poor, but the voice was unmistakably Jim Caviezel. There was strain in his tone, like every word cost him something. I don't know what we filmed. That night. I blacked out. I woke up screaming, covered in dirt. The crew said I was speaking in tongues, trying to claw at the cave wall. He paused, then whispered. That thing, it followed me. The audio popped, then went silent for nearly 10 seconds. Just static. Then, one final line. Mel knows. He saw it too. But he made a deal, and I didn't. The file cut off. Riley returned from Washington pale, disturbed. She refused to discuss what she saw. Elon, she said, he's not the same. His eyes, they looked right through me. Like he was looking at someone else standing behind me. Did he say anything? Riley shook her head. He just kept mumbling one word. Over and over. Elon raised a brow. What word? She swallowed. Watcher. Elon knew he had to confront Mel again. But Gibson had vanished too. No public appearances. No active projects. His Malibu estate, normally patrolled by private security, had gone dark. The only connection left was a former assistant producer who had fled the industry shortly after the film wrapped. Her name was Laura Brennan, and she'd gone into hiding after a mental breakdown in 2006. Through a burner account, Elon arranged a meeting in a small diner in Sedona, Arizona. She showed up late. Hood up. Sunglasses on. Hands shaking. You shouldn't be doing this, she said the moment she sat down. Elon leaned in. What deal did Mel make? She froze. Then, her voice barely audible, she said. He didn't just finance the movie. He offered something. To who? Elon pressed. Laura's eyes welled with tears. It wasn't who. It was what. Laura gave Elon a USB drive, something she had kept hidden for almost 20 years. If anyone finds out I gave this to you, I'm dead, she said. The drive contained raw footage from scene 87, 3 angles, no editing. The timestamp showed it was filmed between 3:06 a.m. and 4:44 a.m. on a single night. Elon reviewed the footage in silence. Caviezel was on the ground. Not acting, convulsing. Around him, the trees began to shake. But there was no wind. A sound rose from the background, low at first, then louder. Like chanting. But no one's mouth moved. And then. The figure appeared again. Closer this time. Clearer. Faceless, eyeless, but aware. The camera lens cracked just before the frame went black. Riley contacted an old stagehand who had kept some of Jim Caviezel's personal belongings after he was taken to the hospital following scene 87. Among them, a small, leather-bound notebook. Elon read every page. Jim had scribbled sketches of the same I symbol over and over. In one entry, dated just days after scene 87, Jim wrote. I don't dream anymore. I only hear breathing. It waits behind mirrors. In reflections. It doesn't blink. Another page. It wants watchers. That's why it came. The cameras invited it. And finally. Whatever we caught on tape that night, it saw us. Now it wants out. That night, Elon Musk stared at his reflection in the hotel mirror. And for a split second, just one. He saw the face from the mask behind his own. Not as a hallucination. As a presence. And then it was gone. Was Jim Caviezel cursed? Or was he chosen? And what does it mean when something ancient and unseen starts using cameras to watch us back? Because if Jim was right, the moment we see it, it sees us too. In the next chapter, Elon tracks down one last crew member who vanished completely after the film's release. But what he finds isn't just a person. It's a ritual. And it's already begun. Leave your thoughts in the comments, and hit subscribe. This is no longer just a film. This is a revelation. 3 names remained on Elon's original crew list from The Passion of the Christ. 2 were dead. One had vanished into a monastery in northern Greece. His name was Dominic Kraus, a German-born production designer who had worked closely with Mel Gibson and had direct input on the visual development of Scene 87. After filming Wrapped, Dominic gave up filmmaking overnight. He sold his belongings, deleted his digital history, and left Los Angeles without a word. No forwarding address. No explanation. But a note in an archived customs report revealed a clue: he'd entered Mount Athos, a remote monastic republic where women and most modern technology are forbidden. No journalists allowed. No cameras. No contact. And yet, Elon Musk got in. After weeks of leveraging international goodwill, diplomatic favors, and several anonymous donations, Elon and Riley were granted temporary passage by the holy community of Mount Athos. It was a rare exception, granted only because of Elon's philanthropic reputation in Europe. Still, they weren't allowed to bring cameras, recording devices, or even phones. Just their eyes. And what they saw was something otherworldly. The air changed as they crossed into the mountain zone. Pine needles muffled every step. Wind whispered through ancient stone halls as if they carried the breath of prayers from 1,000 years ago. The monks didn't speak. They observed. And when they brought Elon and Riley into the main chamber, an old man stood at the center of the room. He had a beard like a prophet, and eyes like he hadn't slept since the film was made. "Dominic?" Elon asked. The man smiled softly. "No. I am Brother Petrus now." Over herbal tea and candlelight, Dominic, now Brother Petrus, told Elon everything. "It was never supposed to be filmed," he said. "Not Scene 87. That part of the gospel, it doesn't belong to man's eyes." He looked directly at Elon. "We took a story meant for spirit, and captured it through glass. That's how it entered." "It?" Elon asked. Dominic nodded. "The Watcher." Dominic handed Elon a fragile book, handwritten in Greek and Aramaic. The pages were dry, the ink fading. Inside were depictions of a faceless figure present in multiple ancient mythologies. Different names in different cultures, but always the same features. No face. Always watching. And this was part of early Christianity? Riley asked. Dominic shook his head. No. It predates it. Pagan. Babylonian. Maybe older. But its curse, spread into our stories. Then he opened to a page Elon couldn't believe. A sketch, identical to the Scene 87 figure. Standing in a grove. Behind it, a veil. Just like in the video. And below the drawing, 4 Aramaic words. He who witnesses must be witnessed. You can't unsee it, Dominic said. Once you recognize the Watcher, it recognizes you. Elon's voice was steady. Why you? Why did you stay here? I heard it in the edit room, Dominic replied. Not the actor. Not the crew. It was behind them. Speaking. Saying names. Mine was one. He leaned in. Once it says your name, it follows you. That night, in the monastery's inner chamber, Dominic performed a ritual not listed in any Christian liturgy. There were chants. Symbols drawn in ash. Candles lit and extinguished in precise rhythm. Elon and Riley sat in silence. In the final moment, Dominic placed a mask, the same mask Elon had uncovered in Matera, at the foot of the altar. It began to burn, without fire. The flames came from inside. The stone hissed and cracked, but no smoke rose. Only light. A deep hum filled the room, not loud, but felt in the chest. Like the earth itself was exhaling. When it was over, Dominic looked both exhausted and at peace. That's one door closed, he whispered. As they left the monastery, a young monk approached Elon quietly. He slipped him a folded slip of paper. Inside, a single phrase was written. 3 masks remain. The figure wasn't an invention of the filmmakers. It had roots in ancient civilizations. It had been captured by the camera, yes, but it had already been invited by something far older. And now Elon knew, the film was not cursed. It was a doorway. And they'd only just cracked it open. Do you think the monks were hiding something sacred? Or something dangerous? What would you do if burning an object only made it more alive? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and hit subscribe. The plane touched down at LAX under a dull, overcast sky. Elon Musk stepped off without fanfare, dressed in black, sunglasses pulled low. Riley was quieter than usual. Neither of them had spoken much since leaving Mount Athos. It wasn't fear that hung between them. It was the feeling of being watched. And it hadn't stopped since they left the monastery. Elon had the mask burned. He watched it crumble into light and ash with his own eyes. He felt the hum of whatever ancient seal they'd closed. But somehow, something came back. Within 48 hours of returning to his Bel Air compound, Elon began noticing strange glitches in the AI systems. Tesla cameras blinked randomly, once every 13 seconds, always at 3:33 a.m. Neuralink test equipment recorded brief data spikes, tagged with random binary strings that translated to the I symbol. And Starlink satellites. They began receiving non-terrestrial audio signals, whispers that weren't in any known language. At first, Elon thought it might be paranoia. Burnout. His mind playing tricks. Until the security footage caught it. At 3:33 a.m., Tuesday morning, one of the outer cameras near the koi pond triggered. Playback showed nothing but static, except for one frame. Just one. When Elon paused and zoomed in, his breath caught. A tall figure. Too tall. Thin. Faceless. Standing at the edge of the pond. Reflected in the water. But not on the grass. Elon ordered a full sweep of the compound. No intruders found. But later that night, while brushing his teeth, he looked up and froze. There was a handprint on the inside of the bathroom mirror. Not his. Long fingers. Charcoal gray. And at the base, etched into the condensation, a message. You watched first. He didn't scream. Didn't move. He just stared. And the reflection, blinked. But he hadn't. It came at 4:04 a.m. Unknown number. Audio only. Elon, said the voice. It was Jim Caviezel. Except his voice was, off. Slower. As if it echoed slightly. Jim. Elon said. A pause. It's looking through you now. What do you want? It doesn't want. It waits. More silence. Then. You can still give it back. And the line went dead. Riley began researching 3 masks. If one was in Matera, where were the other 2? What they found was chilling. One was reportedly seen in 2002, at a church excavation site in southern France. The entire crew died in a landslide days later, except one, the site director, who had a nervous breakdown and now resides in a psychiatric facility in Marseille. The second was referenced in a 16th-century journal recovered from a sunken ship off the coast of Chile. The entry claimed that the object spoke without sound, and that its bearer never slept again. The mask Elon burned may have been the third, but Riley wasn't so sure. What if it wasn't burned, she asked. What if that ritual just released it? Tesla autopilot logs from Elon's private vehicles began showing phantom obstacles in the road. Several times, the AI braked suddenly, reporting a human figure in front of the car. But dashcam review showed nothing there. Starlink logs now pulsed every night at 3:33 a.m., matching the monastery's internal bell schedule. The watcher didn't just follow Elon. It had entered the grid. Then it happened to Riley. She called Elon from her apartment, breathing fast. I just saw myself, standing outside my window. What? I swear to God, it was me. Same clothes. Same expression. But it just stood there. Then it smiled. I didn't. And then, it was gone. She broke down. I think it's copying us. Watching, to become. Elon had the AI cross-reference ancient symbols with current satellite imaging data. The results pointed to something terrifying. There were identical eye-shaped patterns forming in the soil, the trees, the layout of certain urban structures. They weren't visible to the naked eye, but viewed from space. They were everywhere. And their origin traced back to 3 places. Matera, Italy. Mount Athos, Greece. Los Angeles, California. That night, a letter arrived. No stamp. Just the eye symbol on the envelope. Inside, a torn page from a journal. Handwritten by Mel Gibson. We didn't make a movie. We made a doorway. The Bible warned us, but not clearly. It's in the spaces between the verses. The garden wasn't where it fell. It's where it waited. Tell Elon, if he really wants to stop it, he has to go back to where Christ was crucified. At the bottom, a name. Golgotha. Elon Musk built the future. Cars, satellites, brain chips, rockets. But none of them prepared him for this. Because some things don't want to be understood. They want to be seen. And once you see them, you become part of their vision. What would you do if your reflection started acting on its own? Would you confront it? Or look away? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And subscribe. Golgotha. The place of the skull. A limestone hill outside Jerusalem, once a Roman execution site, now the foundation beneath the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, and, if Mel Gibson was right, the original gate. Elon Musk arrived unannounced, dressed plainly, avoiding media attention. But the Vatican guards recognized him the moment he stepped through the basilica's shadows. Still, no one stopped him. As if, somehow, they knew why he was there. Elon descended the steps beneath the main altar, past tourists, priests, monks, to a lesser-known room called the Chapel of Adam. Legend claimed the hill where Jesus was crucified was also where Adam was buried. A stretch, even by theological standards. But Elon had learned by now that legends often contain instructions. He knelt before a cracked stone slab. A centuries-old fissure ran through the center, said to be where Christ's blood dripped through the earth and touched Adam's skull, redeeming mankind. But today, something was different. Elon leaned in closer. There were scratches near the base of the stone. Fresh. A voice behind him whispered, "You seek the thing that sees." Elon turned. A small priest, no more than 5 feet 4 inches, stood in the darkness. His robe was simple. His eyes glistened with recognition. "You've brought the Watcher with you," the priest said, crossing himself. "I didn't bring anything. You looked too long." "That's enough." Elon's throat tightened. "What is this place really?" The priest glanced at the fissure in the rock. Then knelt. "This is not just where he died. It is where it awoke." The priest's name was Father Malachi, an archivist for the Greek Orthodox Patriarchate. He led Elon into a side room no tourist ever sees, behind the chapel, past ancient stone walls slick with centuries of candle soot. Inside, a simple desk. And a book. Bound in leather. Pages of papyrus. Written in Koine Greek, Aramaic, and a third script Elon didn't recognize. Father Malachi opened to a page stained with red wax. "It was removed from the canon," he whispered. "The early church fathers said it made the people mad." "What is it?" "A gospel. Attributed to Thomas." But it speaks not of the resurrection, only of the watcher beneath the tree. Elon read aloud one passage. And the man was alone in the garden, but not unseen. For one there was among them that knew no name. And it did not speak, but watched. It watched even him. Chills crawled across Elon's spine. Even him? You're saying it saw Christ? Father Malachi nodded slowly. It watched God bleed. Elon asked to see the actual burial site. Father Malachi hesitated. There are things we are forbidden to speak of. But it seems, the time for silence has passed. He led Elon to the edicule, the small shrine within the church built over the empty tomb. The line of visitors was rerouted for cleaning. But that was a lie. They were clearing the way for Elon. Inside, Father Malachi removed a small panel behind the wall of the tomb. Behind it, a passageway. Unknown to tourists. Hidden even from most priests. A tunnel. Carved from the limestone. Slick with condensation. They walked in silence. And then they reached it. It was another sealed wall, much like the one Elon had found in Matera. But this one was different. It buzzed. Not audibly, but like a hum that vibrated in the jaw, in the bone. On its surface, the same symbol, the eye. But beneath it, now clear in gold. Here was laid not only flesh, but the thing that watches flesh. Elon reached forward. The wall was warm. He stepped back. I need to open it, he said. Malachi touched Elon's arm. No. You need to understand it's already open. Back in the church archives, Malachi played a VHS tape. Shot in 1987, he said. A small documentary team came here. They tried to enter the hidden tunnel without permission. The footage flickered. Two men walked the limestone corridor. One stepped forward, touched the sealed wall. And collapsed. The camera caught his last words, whispered in Greek. It's not inside the tomb. The tomb is inside it. Then static. No one ever found that cameraman's body. That night, Elon couldn't sleep. He stood in the hotel bathroom, staring at his reflection. And once again. It blinked first. Riley had stayed behind in LA. But she sent a chilling update. A new package arrived. No return address. Inside, a black stone. Shaped like a face. Just like the mask. But this one had teeth. Not carved. Human. She'd scanned the material. The stone didn't register on any spectrometer. And the teeth? 2,000 years old. Whatever this is, she wrote, it followed you back from Jerusalem before you even left. Elon Musk came to the place of Christ's death expecting silence. But what he found was a noise so old, even scripture feared to speak it. Now, he knew one thing for certain. This wasn't just a mystery about a film. Or a mask. Or a forgotten gospel. This was a cosmic surveillance system. And we are all already inside it. If a tomb was built not to hold a body, but to hold a gaze, would you dare open it? Would you look inside? Comment below and hit subscribe. The wheels of Elon Musk's Gulfstream G700 screeched against the runway at Van Nuys Airport. The sky was heavy, the clouds too still. It was as if the air was waiting for him. Elon hadn't slept in 3 days. Since Golgotha, the whispers hadn't stopped. They were no longer just inside his head, or in the mirrors. They were in the data. Starlink feeds. Tesla logs. Neuralink implants. It was speaking through all of them now. And when he finally stepped off the jet, he saw Riley waiting, shaken, pale, eyes wide. Elon, she said quietly, it wore a face. Riley held it up, a black, porous object the size of a grapefruit, shaped like a stretched face. It had real human teeth embedded in the mouth. This wasn't carved, she said. The teeth were grown inside it. They'd scanned it using Neuralink lab sensors. The readings were impossible. No molecular structure that matched Earth minerals. A magnetic signature synchronized to Elon's brainwave pattern. And worst of all, it was broadcasting. Broadcasting what? Elon asked. Riley handed him a printout. 4 binary strings. Translated, they read. The mask watches for you. See to be seen. You wore me first. Welcome back. There had been one other name on Mel Gibson's original list of crew members who had worked closely on Scene 87. Iris Moreau. A French-Cambodian focus puller and lens technician. The woman who had adjusted the framing of the shot right before Caviezel collapsed. She had disappeared shortly after the film's release. The production listed her as returned to Europe. But that wasn't true. Riley found her address, in San Bernardino County, 90 minutes from LA. They drove in silence. No radio. Only the sound of the road, and the strange feeling that they weren't alone in the car, even though they were. Iris lived in a stucco bungalow with all her windows painted black from the inside. When they knocked, she didn't answer. Riley picked the lock. Inside, the air was dry. The lights were red. And dozens of mirrors hung from the walls, but turned facing inward, toward the wall. Avoiding reflection. Avoiding it. They found her in the kitchen, rocking slowly in a chair. I knew you'd come, she said. Her voice was frayed. Like someone who hadn't used it in years. I've been waiting for the one who opens things. She looked at Elon. You're it now. Iris took them to the basement. There, covered in canvas and wax paper, was the final mask. It was smooth. No teeth. No eyes. Just an oval of stone, dark gray, and wet to the touch, despite the room being dry. It doesn't need eyes, Iris whispered. Because it borrows ours. She pointed to the walls. Every reflection is a receiver. Every camera is a doorway. We thought we made a film. She looked at Elon again, trembling. We made a ritual. As Elon stared at the final mask, he suddenly couldn't move. Time stuttered. He saw flashes. Not visions. Memories. But not his own. A man walking barefoot across stones slick with blood. A group of Roman soldiers dropping their torches in fear. Something rising behind the crucifix, taller than the cross itself. A whisper in Aramaic, he is not alone. Elon collapsed. When he woke, Riley was gone. The door was open. The mask was gone too. Only Iris remained. I didn't take it, she said. It took her. Elon's eyes filled with horror. She looked at it too long. Back at Neuralink HQ, systems began to fail. Not from external attacks, but from inside the machine. AI interfaces began responding in Aramaic. Automated cameras began flickering every 13 seconds. One monitor displayed live footage of a room no one had access to. A room that did not exist in the building. In that room stood Riley. But her mouth didn't move. Only her reflection did. And it smiled. Late that night, Elon received a ping on his secure laptop. A video file uploaded itself. File name, T_87133_redemption.mp4. It played once. Soundless. Just a slowly rotating image of the final mask. After 13 seconds, a message appeared. All have seen. All shall be seen. Then. The Watcher walks. Elon had traveled across continents. Burned the mask. Read the gospel that never made it into the Bible. He tried to contain it. But the Watcher was never meant to be hidden. It only needed a face. And now it had one. Riley's. What would you do if your best friend wasn't your best friend anymore? Not possessed. Not dead. Just, replaced. Could you tell? Would you look? Drop a comment. Hit subscribe. That's how long Elon Musk went completely off the grid. No posts. No calls. No appearances. He shut down Neuralink development. Paused all Tesla and SpaceX leadership operations. Even his private security was dismissed. His last message to his assistant was simple. If something wears my voice, don't trust it. Then he disappeared. No one knew Elon had a private underground facility in the Mojave Desert. Not even Riley. It was built years ago as a fallback for potential Mars training. It had its own solar grid, water, and Faraday shielding. Now, it served one purpose. Block everything. No signals in. No reflections. No glass. No screens. Only one light bulb, bare, hanging from the concrete ceiling. Elon covered one wall with a whiteboard. At the top, written in red marker. When did it start? He filled the space with questions, diagrams, sketches of the three masks, stills from the Passion of the Christ, and verses from apocryphal texts. But the more he wrote, the more one symbol kept repeating. An open eye, inside a closed mouth. Below it, scrawled in his handwriting but not remembered. The word that watches. Despite the shielding, Elon still heard it. The voice. It no longer came through devices. It came through the silence. At 3:33 a.m. every night, the light bulb flickered. The air grew heavy. And the voice said only 3 words. You are me. He recorded himself sleeping. On the third night, the footage showed him sitting up at 3:33, staring at the camera with pitch-black eyes. And smiling. He had no memory of it. On day 9, Elon caught his reflection in the stainless steel sink. It blinked. He didn't. He turned away. Then back. It wasn't there anymore. No reflection. Not of himself. Not of anything. Like the mirror refused to remember him. He whispered to himself, "Who am I?" And behind him, he heard. "Who asks?" The media ran with the disappearance. Conspiracy theories exploded. Elon Musk has been cloned. Elon Musk is AI. Elon Musk saw God and went mad. But then came the leaks. A Neuralink dev posted anonymous footage. Elon in 2 places at once. One version in San Francisco, giving a speech no one remembered scheduling. Another caught on private surveillance, walking barefoot through Death Valley at night, muttering in Aramaic. And yet neither of them were Elon. Not entirely. On day 11, she found him. He hadn't told her where he was. He didn't leave a trace. And yet, she appeared. No knock. No sound. Just standing in the middle of the bunker. "Riley," he whispered. She stepped forward slowly. Her eyes were calm. Her voice was hers. But when she blinked, it was out of sync. One eye at a time. And then she smiled. "You wore me first." He ran. Pushed past her. Out into the desert night. Barefoot. Bleeding. He didn't stop until the wind howled and the stars blurred. Then, he collapsed. And in the silence, a voice whispered. "She's not gone. But she's farther than you." He looked up. No one was there. But the sand moved in a spiral beneath him. The grains twisted into shapes. A circle. A mask. Then, a face. His own. But it wept blood. And beneath it, words appeared, not drawn, but formed from pressure in the sand. When you saw, you took her place. And he understood. The Watcher didn't replace Riley. It replaced him. What walked out of that Vatican tunnel? What burned the mask? What spoke with Caviezel? What stood before the reflection? Was never Elon. Not fully. Something had latched on the moment he saw it in Matera. And now? Now it was wearing him more completely every day. Like skin. Like memory. Elon had tried to hide from it. To study it. To fight it with logic, science, engineering. But you cannot debug a myth. And you cannot outthink something older than thought. There is no firewall for the soul. And now, Elon knew. There was no Elon anymore. Not fully. Only the version being seen. What if the thing that's pretending to be you, gets better at being you than you ever were? What if your memories start doubting you? Would you fight for yourself? Or would you let go? Comment your thoughts. Hit subscribe. The bunker was silent except for the faint hum of the ventilation system. Elon sat slumped against the cold concrete wall, his mind spinning in circles. The flickering light above cast long shadows that danced like ghosts around him. Suddenly, the silence broke, not with footsteps, but a voice. Elon. It was calm. Familiar. But cold, like steel wrapped in silk. He looked up sharply. Who's there? He demanded, voice cracked from disuse. I am the one you've been chasing. Elon's heart pounded. The voice wasn't coming from anywhere specific, it was everywhere. You're the Watcher. I am more, it whispered, the voice echoing inside his skull. I am the observer, the shadow behind every moment you never saw. The reflection behind the mirror. The silence between your thoughts. Elon clenched his fists. Why me? Why this? Because you saw. You listened. You took. Suddenly, the room changed. The bunker walls faded away, replaced by scenes from the Passion of the Christ, the agony, the betrayal, the whispers in ancient tongues. Elon was no longer an observer, he was inside the story itself. The Watcher continued. The film was never just a film. It was a gate, a moment folded in time, caught between reality and myth. A place where the past and future collide. Elon's mind reeled. You mean the filming was a ritual? Yes. A ritual woven through celluloid and shadow. Mel Gibson was the vessel, the actors the puppets. But the true power was hidden in the reflections, the cameras, the lenses, the eyes that watched and were watched. A cold breeze brushed Elon's face, though the bunker was sealed tight. And now? Now, it is you who wears the mask. The Watcher lives in you. But you are not lost, yet. You have the choice to see beyond the veil or be consumed by it. Elon swallowed hard. How do I stop it? The voice softened. You cannot stop what you have become. But you can guide what you will be. Suddenly, the scenes vanished. The bunker returned. The light bulb flickered once more, and then stabilized. Elon was alone again. But he knew the truth had just begun. What would you do if the very thing watching you was also inside you? Could you keep your own mind? Or would you become the mask? Hit subscribe, leave your thoughts below. The sun burned low over the Mojave, casting long shadows across the desert floor. Elon sat on the cracked concrete bench in the bunker courtyard, his eyes hollow yet sharp. The voice of the Watcher echoed faintly at the edge of his consciousness, a constant, unnerving presence. He knew it was watching, always watching, but now, it wasn't just inside the bunker. It had begun reaching out, infiltrating systems he once controlled. His phone buzzed silently. He hadn't turned it on for days. A message, we see you. No sender. No reply. Meanwhile, Neuralink executives convened an emergency meeting. The AI was behaving unpredictably, integrating strange data streams and displaying cryptic messages in Aramaic. The system's core had fragmented, like a mind breaking apart. Riley's image flickered on the conference screen, her expression grave. Elon's gone dark. We're losing control. The room fell silent. Elon closed his eyes. The Watcher's voice whispered again. Prove you are more than this mask. Prove you can shape your own fate. He opened his eyes, steady and resolute. He reached for a metal box in the corner. Inside lay an experimental neural inhibitor designed to block external influence. If he could wear it long enough, maybe he could silence the Watcher. As he fitted the device, the bunker seemed to pulse. Shadows twisted. His own reflection warped in the glass walls. You cannot run, the voice growled. The inhibitor engaged. Pain shot through Elon's skull like lightning. Memories, his memories, flooded back. But interlaced were visions of others, actors from the film, the mysterious iris, the shadow behind the crucifix. He gritted his teeth. I'm still here. Suddenly, the device sparked, and the voice faltered. Elon gasped, catching a moment of silence. He realized, the Watcher wasn't invincible. It had limits. But the struggle was only beginning. What would you sacrifice to reclaim your mind? Would you fight a darkness inside you that no one else can see? Comment below. Subscribe now. Elon's breath came in shallow gasps as the neural inhibitor hummed faintly on his head. The bunker was cloaked in shadows, the single bulb casting a sickly yellow glow. Outside, the desert wind whispered, but inside, something darker raged. The Watcher was no longer just a distant voice. It had become a presence, intimate, invasive, twisting his thoughts like a storm. You are alone, it whispered, voice slithering into his mind. Nobody believes you. Riley is gone. Even your own memories betray you. Elon's grip tightened on the cold metal bench beneath him. Doubt crept in, the kind that gnaws at your soul. Had he imagined it all? Was the Watcher merely a fragment of a breaking mind? He reached for a mirror shard, left from Iris's house, and stared deeply. The reflection wavered, flickering between his face and something else, something dark and hollow. The Watcher spoke through the image. Give in. Become me. You are nothing without me. A flood of memories, real and false, surged forward. The eyes of Jesus in the Passion set, filled with pain but also something else. Iris's whispered warnings. Riley's disappearance. The black stone with teeth. He nearly dropped the shard but forced himself to hold it firm. Elon knew this was the Watcher's greatest weapon, his own doubt. It was the gate through which it could consume him entirely. He closed his eyes. Breathed deeply. I am more than my fears, he whispered. Opening his eyes, the reflection shattered, replaced by his own unwavering gaze. The neural inhibitor sparked violently and went dark. Pain shot through his head but the voice was silenced, at least for now. Elon smiled grimly. I'm not done. The Vatican's ancient stone corridors were cold and silent, save for the faint echo of footsteps. Elon moved cautiously, flanked by Father Marcus, a scholar who owed him a debt of trust and curiosity. The archive was a labyrinth of dusty manuscripts and forgotten relics, a vault for secrets no one dared reveal. Elon, Marcus whispered, if what you say is true, these halls hold answers. But some truths come with a price. Elon nodded. He was ready. At the heart of the archive, Marcus produced a leather-bound tome, bound in darkened calfskin, its pages brittle but intact. This, Marcus said, is the Codex Aeternum. It speaks of shadows older than the Church itself. Of watchers, masks, and mirrors that blur the line between flesh and spirit. Elon's fingers trembled as he opened it. Ancient script mixed with symbols he recognized, an open eye inside a closed mouth. The Watcher's mark. As Elon read, a chilling passage caught his eye. Beware the gaze that wears your face, for it sees beyond your soul. The mask you burn will return, reborn from your own reflection. A sudden coldness filled the chamber. The lights flickered. Elon looked up. The shadows shifted, and for a heartbeat, he saw a face, his own, grinning back at him from the darkness. The sound of a heavy door slamming shut echoed through the archive. Marcus spun around. We're not alone. The heavy door slammed shut behind Elon and Father Marcus with a final, echoing thud that seemed to swallow the dim light of the Vatican archive. The ancient corridors narrowed, shadows lengthening like creeping fingers, as the two men stared into the encroaching darkness. Elon's heart hammered in his chest, the boundary between reality and nightmare was dissolving. Stay close, Marcus whispered, gripping an old brass candlestick. These halls hold more than books. They guard secrets meant to be forgotten. Elon nodded, steeling himself. He had seen enough to know that the Watcher's influence was no mere hallucination. It was a force older than recorded history, a dark presence woven into humanity's deepest myths. They moved deeper into the maze of towering shelves, past relics wrapped in velvet and inscriptions etched in fading ink. Each step echoed like a heartbeat, reverberating against cold stone. Suddenly, the air shifted, a chilling breeze swept through the corridor, carrying whispers in languages long lost. Do you hear that? Elon asked. Marcus nodded grimly. The voices of those who walked these halls centuries ago. The Watchers before the Watcher. At last, they came upon a small, circular chamber lit by flickering candlelight. In the center stood a massive mirror, its frame carved with cryptic symbols, some familiar, others utterly alien. Elon approached cautiously. His reflection shimmered, then twisted, morphing into a version of himself with hollow eyes and a sinister smile. The Watcher's presence was palpable. Look away, Marcus warned, but Elon's gaze was fixed. The mirror pulsed, images flooding his mind, scenes from the filming of the Passion of the Christ, the masks, the shadows behind the crucifix. He saw himself and Iris, Riley and Caviezel, all trapped in an endless loop of watching and being watched. A voice echoed from the glass. You cannot escape what you have seen. The mask is eternal. Elon clenched his fists. No, he said. I will change the story. The mirror chamber's cold air pressed against Elon like a physical weight. His heart raced, every breath shallow as he stared at the warped reflection staring back at him, the hollow-eyed doppelganger, grinning with a malice that chilled him to his core. He could feel the Watcher's presence seeping through the glass, pulling at the edges of his mind like a predator stalking its prey. The ancient symbols carved into the frame glowed faintly, pulsating with a rhythm that matched the pounding in his temples. You cannot escape what you have seen, the voice from the mirror repeated, cold and unyielding. The mask is eternal. Elon swallowed hard. Every instinct screamed for him to turn away, to break eye contact, to flee this cursed place. But he knew, this was the moment that defined everything. The moment where he either reclaimed himself or lost everything to the darkness. The chamber seemed to shrink around him, shadows creeping inward like ink spreading through water. He felt the Watcher probing, twisting his memories, amplifying every fear, every regret. Images flashed unbidden in his mind, the faces of those he had lost, Riley's last message, Iris's warning whispers, the haunting gaze of Jim Caviezel in the Passion of the Christ. Was this the true face of the Watcher, a mirror to his own fractured soul? Elon clenched his fists, fighting the rising tide of doubt. I am more than your mask, he whispered fiercely. I am not what you want me to be. The reflection snarled, splitting into a dozen distorted versions of himself, each one jeering, mocking. You cannot resist, they hissed in unison. You are already lost. Elon. Father Marcus's voice snapped through the haze. The old priest stepped forward, clutching a small crucifix, his hands trembling but resolute. Remember who you are. You are not alone in this. The light within you is stronger than the shadows outside. Elon turned toward Marcus, finding strength in the priest's unwavering faith. Use it, Marcus urged, pressing the crucifix into Elon's hand. A surge of warmth pulsed through Elon's fingers, spreading like fire through his veins. With renewed determination, Elon faced the mirror again. This time, instead of fear, he felt a fierce clarity. "Your power over me is an illusion," he declared, voice steady. The distorted reflections recoiled, their forms flickering like static on a broken screen. Elon raised the crucifix before the glass. The symbols on the frame flared brightly, then cracked and splintered as if breaking under the force of an invisible weight. A thunderous sound echoed through the chamber. The ancient mirror shattered into 1,000 glittering shards, scattering across the floor. As the fragments settled, Elon saw not his twisted reflection, but his own true image staring back. No hollow eyes, no sinister smile, just himself, battered but whole. He breathed deeply, the suffocating darkness lifting like a heavy fog. "You are free," Marcus said softly. Elon nodded, tears stinging his eyes. For now. Though the mirror was broken, Elon knew the fight was far from over. The Watcher was still out there, in the shadows, in the past, and within himself. But this victory gave him something precious, hope. He looked at Marcus. "We need to find Iris. And the others. Together, we can end this." Marcus smiled faintly. "Then let us leave this place. The past has been unveiled, and now the future awaits." The cold dawn light filtered through the cracked windows of the Vatican's ancient library, casting long shadows over piles of dust-covered books. Elon and Father Marcus moved quickly among the towering shelves, their footsteps muffled on the stone floor. The weight of recent revelations pressed heavily on Elon's shoulders, but there was no time to rest. Iris was out there, and finding her was their only chance to unravel the truth behind the Watcher and the shadows that haunted him. Elon paused, scanning a weathered manuscript. "She left a trace," he murmured. "Something only someone like her would hide." Marcus nodded, eyes flickering with concern. "Iris is no ordinary woman. If she's involved in this, she's both a key and a mystery. You must be careful. This is more than a hunt, it's a reckoning." As Elon turned the brittle pages, a faint symbol caught his eye, the same open eye inside a closed mouth that had appeared countless times throughout his journey. Beneath it was a phrase in Latin, roughly translated as, "The eyes that see beyond must guide the lost." Elon's heart pounded. Could this be a clue left specifically for him? "Marcus," he said, voice low but urgent, "this isn't just a warning. It's a beacon. Iris wants to be found." Marcus frowned, rubbing his chin thoughtfully. "Then we follow the light." The streets of Rome bustled with life, the hum of modernity layered over centuries of history. Elon and Marcus slipped into the crowd, careful to avoid attention. The Watcher's influence was still strong, he could feel it lurking in every glance, every shadow. "Elon," Marcus whispered, "there are those who would stop us. The secrets we chase threaten more than your mind. They shake the foundations of power." Elon's jaw tightened. "Then we move faster." Their search took them to Trastevere, a winding maze of narrow alleys and ancient stone buildings. The neighborhood's vibrant energy was a stark contrast to the cold, silent halls of the Vatican. Elon's phone buzzed, an encrypted message. He hesitated, then opened it. "If you want answers, come to the Ponte Sisto Bridge at midnight." Alone. No signature. A chill ran down his spine. Was this Iris? Or a trap? As the moon rose over the Tiber River, Elon waited beneath the Ponte Sisto Bridge. The water flowed dark and silent beneath him, reflecting the city's lights like scattered stars. Minutes stretched. Then footsteps approached. A figure emerged from the shadows, slender, graceful, eyes sharp and knowing. "Iris," Elon breathed. She nodded slightly, expression unreadable. You've come far, Elon. But the path ahead is darker than you think. Under the veil of night, Iris revealed fragments of a story that stretched back centuries. A secret society sworn to guard the truth behind the Passion of the Christ, the ritual masking a much deeper mystery. The Watcher, she explained, was not just a force of darkness but a guardian of a hidden knowledge, a double-edged entity born from mankind's fear and faith. The film was the key, Iris said softly. A door to awaken what was buried. You were chosen not by chance, but by fate. Elon's mind reeled. Everything he believed was shifting, like sand beneath his feet. Iris's voice dropped to a whisper. There are those who will stop at nothing to keep this secret hidden. You must trust no one, not even those closest to you. Elon looked at her, the weight of the world pressing down. Then what do I do? Find the others, she said. Riley, Caviezel, and the ones you haven't met yet. Together, you might stand a chance. The moon hung low over Rome, its pale light casting long, eerie shadows as Elon and Iris made their way through the labyrinthine streets. The air was thick with tension, every step felt like a descent deeper into a trap they could neither see nor escape. Elon's mind raced with questions. How much of what Iris told him was true? Who could they trust? Every face in the crowd seemed a mask hiding hidden motives, and the Watcher's presence loomed, silent but suffocating. As they reached a quiet piazza near the ancient ruins, a figure stepped from the shadows. It was Riley, or at least, someone who looked like him. Elon, the man said softly, eyes wary but sincere. Iris was right. The danger is closer than you think. Elon's heart surged with relief, but suspicion gnawed at him. Was this really Riley, or something else wearing his face? Before Elon could respond, the plaza's lights flickered and died, plunging them into darkness. A voice, cold and mechanical, echoed through the square. Welcome, Elon. Did you think you could escape the Watcher's gaze? Spotlights snapped on, revealing figures clad in black, faces obscured by masks. They moved swiftly, encircling the trio. Elon's breath caught. The trap had closed. Adrenaline surged as Elon pushed Iris behind him. The masked assailants advanced, weapons glinting in the dim light. But Elon wasn't just a man caught in a nightmare. Years of battling shadows had honed his instincts. He darted forward, grabbing a nearby iron rod. The first attacker lunged, but Elon parried with a grunt, swinging the rod in a wide arc. The clang of metal on metal rang out as the fight erupted, a brutal, desperate dance in the dark. Amid the chaos, a chilling truth surfaced. Riley's movements were too precise, too calculated. A flash of a strange tattoo on his wrist. The same mark Elon had seen in the Codex Eternum. Elon, Iris shouted, her voice breaking through the battle, Riley's one of them. The shock hit Elon like a thunderclap. The man he trusted was a traitor, a pawn of the Watcher. With renewed urgency, Elon and Iris fought back to back, breaking through the circle. Riley's laughter echoed in the darkness as they fled, the words burning in Elon's mind, "You cannot win." Breathless and bruised, they ducked into a narrow alley. "We need a plan," Iris said, voice trembling but fierce. Elon nodded. "And allies. Real ones this time." As they caught their breath, Elon's phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number. "If you want to survive, meet me at the catacombs at dawn. Alone. A glimmer of hope, or another trap." Elon's resolve hardened. The fight for truth was far from over. How do you choose who to trust when everyone wears a mask? Would you risk everything for the truth, or walk away? Subscribe now and leave a comment, the story only deepens. The first light of dawn crept over Rome, casting a pale glow on the narrow streets as Elon made his way toward the catacombs. The air was thick with moisture and the scent of ancient stone. Each step echoed off the walls, a haunting rhythm in the labyrinth beneath the city. Elon's mind raced. The message had been clear, meet me at the catacombs at dawn. Alone. No name, no explanation, just an urgent summons that might mean salvation or doom. He paused at the entrance, a heavy iron gate adorned with rusted crosses. Taking a deep breath, he pushed it open, stepping into the darkness below. The catacombs stretched out like a maze of shadows and whispers. Flickering torches cast dancing light on walls carved centuries ago, the air cold and thick with history. Elon's footsteps fell softly as he followed the narrow path, senses alert for any sign of the unknown. Suddenly, a voice whispered from the darkness. Elon. He whirled around, heart pounding. From the shadows stepped a woman, tall, cloaked, eyes sharp and piercing. I'm Anna, she said quietly. I'm here to help. Elon eyed her cautiously. How do I know I can trust you? Anna smiled faintly. Because I've been fighting the Watcher too. And because Riley's betrayal was just the beginning. She handed Elon a small, weathered notebook. Everything you need to know is here. But be warned, the deeper you go, the darker it gets. Elon flipped through the pages. Sketches of symbols, maps of ancient Rome, cryptic notes about the film The Passion of the Christ. This is incredible. Anna nodded. And dangerous. The Watcher's influence spreads beyond what you realize. Together, they devised a strategy. Elon would contact Iris and Father Marcus to regroup. Anna promised to gather more information and locate allies hidden in the shadows. We need to expose the truth, Anna said. Before the Watcher can silence us all. Elon's resolve hardened. The stakes were higher than ever. Suddenly, the distant sound of footsteps echoed through the tunnels. Hide, Anna whispered urgently. They pressed themselves against the damp stone walls as figures clad in dark cloaks passed by, murmuring in a language Elon didn't recognize. The Watcher's agents were closing in. As the footsteps faded, Elon and Anna slipped deeper into the catacombs, weaving through forgotten passages until they reached a hidden exit. Emerging into the cold morning air, Elon felt a renewed sense of purpose. We can't do this alone, he said. Anna smiled. No, but together, we might just stand a chance. What would you risk to unmask a shadow that's haunted history for centuries? Would you trust a stranger in the darkness, or walk away forever? Subscribe and comment, the truth is waiting. The afternoon sun beat down on the cobblestone streets of Rome as Elon, Iris, Anna, and Father Marcus convened in a quiet, nondescript cafe tucked away from the bustling crowds. They gathered around a small table cluttered with papers, maps, and the worn notebook Anna had delivered from the catacombs. The tension in the air was palpable. Each of them carrying the weight of secrets that could unravel everything they thought they knew about the film, The Watcher, and their own lives. Elon spread out the sketches from the notebook. Symbols intertwined with ancient Latin phrases, cryptic notes about rituals, and references to hidden chambers beneath the city. Look here, Anna said, pointing to a detailed map of the Vatican. This marks the location of a chamber rumored to contain lost manuscripts from the early church, manuscripts that might hold the key to the Watcher's origins. Marcus leaned in, his brows furrowed. If these texts exist, they could change history, and explain why the filming of The Passion of the Christ stirred something dark beneath the surface. Iris nodded solemnly. The film wasn't just a movie. It was a ritual, a trigger. Elon's fingers traced the lines of the map. We have to get inside that chamber. Their plan was dangerous. Infiltration into the heart of the Vatican, where the Watcher's presence was strongest and his followers most vigilant. Elon felt the weight of responsibility pressing down harder than ever. This was no longer just about his own sanity or survival, it was about exposing a truth that powerful forces wanted to remain buried. Tonight, Elon said, his voice low but determined, we break into the chamber. As dusk fell, they prepared. Black clothing, minimal gear, and quiet nerves. The ancient city was a maze of secrets, and their every move needed to be calculated. Elon's heart thudded in his chest as they slipped past guards and security cameras, moving through shadowed corridors few had walked in centuries. They found the hidden entrance, a narrow stone door inscribed with the same mysterious symbols. Marcus stepped forward, murmuring a prayer. With a soft click, the door creaked open. The chamber was vast and dimly lit by flickering candles. Shelves lined with dusty scrolls and leather-bound tomes surrounded them. Elon's eyes scanned the room, heart pounding. This was it, the heart of the mystery. Suddenly, a chill swept through the air. The Watcher was near. Anna approached a pedestal at the center, lifting an ancient manuscript. The pages detailed forbidden rituals and accounts of a shadowy force manipulating history through symbols and stories, a force that had influenced art, religion, and culture for centuries. Elon's breath caught. The manuscript revealed that the Passion of the Christ film had inadvertently reawakened this power. A power the Watcher sought to control again. "We're running out of time," Iris whispered. Before they could react, the chamber doors slammed shut. A voice echoed, cold and mocking. "You think you can steal secrets from me?" Figures emerged from the shadows, cloaked agents of the Watcher, surrounding them. The final confrontation had begun. What would you do when the truth you seek traps you in darkness? Would you fight to the end, or surrender to the shadows? Subscribe and comment below, your courage will be tested. The cold stone walls of the hidden chamber reverberated with the echo of footsteps as cloaked figures closed in around Elon, Iris, Anna, and Father Marcus. The flickering candlelight cast long, dancing shadows, making the space feel alive with unseen eyes. Elon's heart pounded in his chest. The culmination of months of searching, betrayal, and revelation was now a moment of raw danger. The Watcher's agents were here, and their patience had run out. "We don't have much time," Anna hissed, her eyes darting to every corner. "They're here to stop us, permanently." Elon tightened his grip on the ancient manuscript. This was more than just knowledge, it was a weapon against centuries of darkness. Marcus moved to shield Iris and Anna. "We stand together." The agents moved in, silent, swift, faces hidden beneath black hoods. Elon's fingers traced the faded script on the manuscript's pages. Suddenly, an idea sparked. "This text, it holds rituals, symbols of protection, ways to bind the Watcher's power," Elon whispered. Iris nodded. "If we can perform the ritual, we might contain the darkness, at least temporarily." Marcus stepped forward, beginning to recite an ancient prayer from the manuscript, his voice steady despite the tension. As Marcus chanted, the room seemed to shift. The flickering flames grew brighter, shadows twisting and writhing like living creatures. The cloaked figures hesitated, unease flickering behind their masks. Then, with sudden violence, they lunged. Elon parried with a broken candlestick, striking down one attacker. Iris and Anna fought fiercely alongside him, every move desperate and determined. The chamber erupted into chaos, a swirling storm of clashing wills. Elon felt the weight of the Watcher's gaze upon them, a presence that chilled to the bone yet sparked a fierce resolve. Every strike, every prayer, was a battle for the future. For truth, for freedom from shadows that had haunted mankind for centuries. Amid the struggle, Marcus's chanting reached a crescendo. A glowing sigil appeared on the floor, pulsing with ancient power. Elon and Iris joined hands, completing the ritual with words that felt like thunder. The chamber shook violently, the darkness recoiling as if burned by light. The cloaked figures screamed, dissolving into mist. As silence returned, the four stood breathless but victorious. For a moment, the chamber felt free, a place where shadows no longer ruled. But Elon knew this was only the beginning. "The Watcher isn't gone," he said quietly. "He's waiting, watching. When the darkness falls, will you stand in the light, or be consumed by the shadows?" Subscribe and share your thoughts, the mystery continues. The chamber was silent now, the heavy stillness hanging thick in the air. Flickering candlelight illuminated the faces of Elon, Iris, Anna, and Father Marcus. Each marked with exhaustion and a wary relief. Though the battle had ended, none dared believe the war was over. Elon wiped sweat and dust from his brow, the ancient manuscript clutched tightly in his hands. It was a fragile trophy, a symbol of victory yet also a reminder of the darkness still lurking beyond these stone walls. Iris sank onto a cold stone bench, her breath shaky but steady. We did it. At least for now. Anna's eyes scanned the chamber, alert despite their escape. The Watcher's hold has weakened, but the truth is far deeper than we imagined. This ritual only delays what's coming. Marcus, ever the voice of faith and reason, nodded solemnly. We've lifted the veil for a moment. The light shines through, but the shadows gather still. Elon looked around at his allies, feeling the heavy burden of what lay ahead. So what's next? How do we stop this once and for all? Anna pulled the manuscript close, flipping to a page marked with an ancient seal. The ink was faded but legible. There's a prophecy here, she said softly. It speaks of a final reckoning. A choice that will determine the fate of the Watcher's influence over humanity. Elon leaned in. A choice? Yes, Anna said, voice grave. To destroy the darkness, someone must willingly sacrifice what they hold most dear. The room fell silent. The weight of the prophecy settled like a stone on Elon's chest. Elon's mind flashed to Iris, to Anna, to Marcus, all who had risked everything. He thought of Riley's betrayal, the dangers they'd faced, the lives hanging in the balance. The sacrifice, could it be one of us? Iris asked, eyes wide. It has to be someone who understands the cost, Marcus said quietly. Someone willing to walk through fire for the greater good. Elon's heart thudded painfully. Was he prepared to face that fate? To give up what mattered most? After hours of discussion, they agreed on their next move. They would seek out an artifact referenced in the manuscript, an ancient relic said to hold the power to bind the Watcher forever. But retrieving it would mean venturing into the heart of danger once more, the very site where the Passion of the Christ had been filmed. Elon swallowed hard. The film had been the catalyst for everything, the spark that had awakened the darkness. The thought of returning to the filming location stirred old memories, the strange incidents, the unexplained events, the fear and hope tangled together like threads in a tapestry. We have to go back, Elon said with conviction. To understand the origin of this power and end it. Iris nodded. It's our only chance. That night, they prepared, gathering supplies and steeling themselves for what lay ahead. The city slept unaware of the battle waging beneath its surface, but Elon's mind raced with every possible outcome. He found himself staring at the manuscript, pondering the sacrifice it foretold. What price was he willing to pay for truth? For freedom? For those he loved? What would you sacrifice to end a darkness that has haunted humanity for centuries? Could you face your deepest fears to protect the light? Subscribe and comment, the final chapter approaches. The dawn was pale and fragile as Elon, Iris, Anna, and Father Marcus stood at the threshold of the now abandoned filming site of the Passion of the Christ. The ground beneath their feet seemed charged with memories. Echoes of pain, devotion, and the inexplicable force that had haunted their journey. This was the place where everything began, and where everything would end. They moved cautiously through the deserted set, remnants of wooden crosses and faded props scattered like forgotten relics. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation and something else, a silent watchfulness, as if unseen eyes observed their every step. Elon clutched the ancient manuscript tightly. The final clue pointed to a hidden chamber beneath the main set, a place no one had dared enter since filming ended years ago. Marcus led the way, invoking a prayer as they descended into the darkness. The underground chamber was small and cold, carved from stone with inscriptions etched deep into the walls. At its center rested a relic, a small, ancient chalice glowing faintly with an otherworldly light. Anna stepped forward. This is it, the vessel that binds the Watcher's power. But as they approached, the air shifted. A shadow, vast and terrible, began to coalesce, a presence that made the very stones tremble. The Watcher had come. The prophecy echoed in Elon's mind: to end the darkness, one must sacrifice what they hold most dear. His gaze fell on Iris. She looked back with fierce determination, unspoken words passing between them. "I'm ready," she said quietly. "No," Elon replied, voice cracking. "We do this together." But Iris shook her head. "You've led us this far. This is your burden." The Watcher's shadow lunged, and the chamber erupted into chaos, a battle of wills, faith, and raw power. Marcus chanted prayers, Anna traced protective symbols, and Elon held the chalice high. Iris stepped forward, placing her hands on the relic. A brilliant light exploded, blinding and pure. When it faded, the Watcher was gone, vanquished, bound by a power beyond comprehension. But the price was clear. Iris collapsed, drained but smiling. Outside, the morning sun broke over Rome, bathing the city in golden light. Elon knelt beside Iris, tears streaming. "You saved us all." She reached out, clasping his hand. "Love is the light that conquers all." Marcus and Anna emerged, weary but hopeful. The darkness that had haunted the film, the city, and their lives was finally contained. Years later, historians and theologians would debate the events surrounding the filming of the Passion of the Christ. But Elon, having lived through the ordeal, spoke with unique insight. "To this day, no one can explain what happened beneath the surface," he said in an interview. "But I believe it was a collision of faith, art, and something ancient, a mystery that challenges our understanding of reality." He paused, eyes steady. What we faced was a reminder that some stories carry power beyond words. And sometimes, the greatest battles are fought not in the world we see, but in the shadows we don't. Just when the world thought the darkness was gone, Elon revealed a final secret. The Watcher is not one being, he warned. He is a force, a whisper in the darkness, waiting for the next story to awaken him again. As the camera faded, Elon's last words echoed. "Beware the stories you choose to believe, because sometimes, the truth is far more terrifying than fiction." What do you believe lurks in the shadows of history and faith? Are there mysteries we're not meant to uncover? Hit subscribe, leave a comment with your thoughts, and share where you're watching from. This story might just be the beginning of a much larger journey.